It's the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown for this first weekend of October. I'm your host, Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida. And this weekend, we're not doing our traditional countdown show. We're doing our 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3. These are some of our favorite 80s songs in no particular order. Now, if you haven't gone back and listened to the 80s Honorable Mentions Part 1 and Part 2, make sure you go and check those out. But if you love 80s music, you're going to love this show. Now, before we get into the music, we just want to issue our disclaimer and just remind you that we are not getting paid to do this show. We're also not profiting from the music that you're getting ready to hear. So I want to encourage you to go to Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, or wherever you normally purchase your music from, and let's make sure that we purchase these tracks. All music is the property of the artists, the record producers, and the record companies. And now let's get into the show. And in the 1980s, hair bands were becoming real popular, and of course Bon Jovi had their first big album come out in the mid-80s called Slippery When Wet, but it was their second album, New Jersey, that a lot of people will agree was their best. And here's the first track released off of that album in 1988. It's Bon Jovi and Bad Medicine on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
I gotta be the 2:45. When they play their music, ooh, that modern music, they back it with a lot of style, but it's still that same old backbeat rhythm that really, really drives them wild. They say the heart of rock and roll is still beating, and from what I've seen, I believe them. Now the other may be barely breathing, but the heart of rock and roll is still beating. LA, Hollywood, and the Sunset Strip is something everyone should see. Neon lights and the pretty, pretty girls all dress so scantily. When they play their music, that hard rock music, they back it with a lot of flash, but it's still that same old backbeat rhythm that really, really kicks them in the. They say the heart of rock and roll is still beating, and from what I've seen, I believe them. Now the old one may be barely breathing, but the heart of rock and roll is still beating. Johnny! Ow! DC, San Antonio, and the Liberty Town, Boston and a Baton Rouge, Tulsa, Austin, Oklahoma City, Seattle, San Francisco, too. Everywhere there's music, real live music, bands with a million styles, but it's still that same old rock and roll music that really, really drives them wild. They say the heart of rock and roll is still beating, and from what I've seen, I believe them. Now the other may be barely breathing, but the heart of rock and roll is still beating. Yeah. In Cleveland, Detroit, heart of rock and roll.
That's Huey Lewis and the News from 1983 on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. I'm Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida, and this weekend we've decided not to do our traditional countdown show. We're playing our 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3 in no particular order. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, hair bands were the big craze in the 1980s, and of course Van Halen was really making a name for themselves in the 80s. They had been around for a long time, and this is another great song that they had, and this is also a song that has become the theme for the Navy's Blue Angels, which are based right here in Pensacola. So from 1986, here's Van Halen and Dreams on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
baby, don't put my love up on no shelf. She said, don't hand me no lines and keep your hands to yourself. Why you wanna treat me this way? You know I'm still your lover boy. I still feel the same way. That's when she told me the story about free milk and a cow, and said no hooky, no kissy until I get a wedding vow. My honey, my baby, don't put my love up on no shelf. She said don't hand me no lines and keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself.
That's the Georgia Satellites from 1986, and keep your hands to yourself on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. And a lot of people would argue that that was a country crossover, but it actually wasn't, even though it does have a little bit of country in it. It actually was a top 40 song, and that's where it stayed. It never actually crossed over onto the country charts. And moving right along, in the 1960s, the Monkees made a name for themselves. Not only did they have a hit TV show that was played on TV for many years even after it ended production, but they also had a lot of top 10 hits in the 1960s, including Last Train to Clarksville and Daydream Believer. But in 1986, the Monkees decided to make a comeback, and this is the first song from their comeback album. It's the Monkees, Mickey Dolenz, and Peter Tork with That Was Then, This Is Now on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
You say I'm tough,
From 1986, that's two of the Monkees, Mickey Dolenz and Peter Tork, and that was Then, This Is Now. I'm Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida, and this weekend on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown, we're actually not doing our traditional countdown show. We're playing our 80s Honorable Mentions. We're calling it our 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3 in no particular order. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to hear a one-hit wonder from Was Not Was. Also got the Go-Go's coming up. We'll hear from Roy Orbison and more on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. Welcome back to the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. I'm your host, Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment. And this weekend, we're not doing our traditional countdown show. We are just playing some of our 80s honorable mentions. In no particular order, we're calling this show our 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3. Now, before we get back into the music, we just need to issue our disclaimer. Just remind you that we're not getting paid to do this show. We're also not profiting from the music that you're listening to. So we encourage you to go to Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, or wherever you normally purchase your music from, and let's make sure we purchase these tracks and show some love to our many artists, the record producers, and the record companies who make this music possible. This show is for entertainment purposes only, no copyright infringement intended. Now with that said, let's get back into the music. And of course the 80s were really well known for their music, and in the late 80s, it seemed like a dinosaur craze happened to hit the nation, and Was Not Was released this song. It's called Walk the Dinosaur from 1989 on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
Boom, boom, acca-lacca-lacca, boom, 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 acca-lacca, boom, 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 acca-lacca-lacca, boom, 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 acca-lacca, boom,
It was a night like this 40 million years ago. I lit a city.
That's the Go-Go's with lead singer Belinda Carlisle from 1981, and We Got the Beat on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. And before that, we started off this segment with Was Not Was and Walk the Dinosaur from 1989. I'm Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida, and on this first weekend of October, we're not doing our traditional countdown show. We're actually just playing some of our 80s honorable mentions. We're calling it the 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3 on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown, and these songs are in no particular order. And now Roy Orbison had been an artist who came about in the 1950s when he got his start, and of course he reached stardom in the 1960s and 1970s. And his death in December of 1988 really shocked the country, but he still had one more hit that was released just 17 days after his untimely death. And this song peaked at number 9 in April of 1989 on the Billboard Top 100. It's Roy Orbison and You Got It on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
Every time I look into your loving eyes, I see love that money just can't buy. One look from you, I drift away. I pray that you are here to stay. Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it. Anything at all, you got it, baby. Every time I hold you, I begin to understand. Everything about you tells me I'm your man. I live my life to be with you. No one can do the thing you do. Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need.
with my tail in the air. Stray cat strut, I'm a ladies' cat. I'm a feeling Casanova. Hey, man, that's that. Get a shoe thrown at me from a mean old man. Get my dinner from a garbage can. Yeah, don't cross my path. And I got cat style. And I got cat style.
From 1981, that's the Stray Cats and Stray Cat Strut on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. And before that, we heard Roy Orbison and You Got It from 1989. I'm Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida, and this weekend on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown, it's our 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3 in no particular order. And now this next song was actually released in 1979, but it became real famous in the 1980s because it was the very first video ever played when MTV launched on August 1st, 1981. Here's the Buggles and Video Killed the Radio Star on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
I heard you on the wireless back in 52, lying awake intently tuning in on you. If I was young, it didn't stop you coming through. They took the credit for your second symphony, rewritten by machine on new technology. And now I understand the problems you could see. I met your children. What did you tell them?
Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star.
And that's the Buggles from 1979 and Video Killed the Radio Star. And of course that song really didn't do too well when it first came out, but it did get some renowned interest a couple years later when it was the first video played on MTV when MTV launched on August 1st, 1981. And yes, for some of you younger listeners, MTV actually used to play music videos 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For much of the time during the 80s and then in the 90s, it started to evolve into more game shows, and you got stuff like Beavis and Butthead and things like that. But there was a time when MTV was strictly music videos all the time, and a lot of us really remember that with fond memories. I'm Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida, and this is the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. Although this weekend we're not doing our traditional countdown show, we're just playing some of our 80s honorable mentions. In no particular order, we're calling the show our 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3. Now we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to hear from Donny Osmond, also Bonnie Tyler, Bruce Springsteen, and more on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. SNDJ Entertainment, the Gulf Coast Wedding and Party Service. We offer services in wedding ceremonies, wedding receptions, parties, school dances, and more. Unlike other DJ and entertainment services in our area, we only charge a flat rate for each one of our packages, so there are no hourly fees. You can have your DJ for as long as you would like on the day of your event. We also offer our LED light show in all packages. For weddings, your DJ not only serves as your DJ and master of ceremonies, but we also offer reception entertainment planning where your DJ will serve as your on-site day of reception director coordinator to help make sure your wedding reception runs smoothly. To schedule your free consultation or to receive your free information packet, contact us today at 850-501-1590. Video and phone consultations are also available. SNDJ Entertainment, we've got you covered since 2003.
Here we are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons, hoping to find we're two of a kind, making a go, making it grow together. We're gonna find our way together, taking the time each day to learn all about those things you just can't buy. Two silver spoons together, you and I. We're gonna find our way. You and I together, we're gonna find our way. You and I together.
And welcome back to the third and final segment of the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. I'm your host, Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida. And on this first weekend of October, we're not doing our traditional countdown show this weekend. We are playing our 80s Honorable Mentions in no particular order. We're calling it the 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3, as we did the 80s Honorable Mentions Part 1 and Part 2 a few weeks ago. So make sure you go back and listen to those shows as well if you love 80s music. Now, before we get back into the music, we need to issue our disclaimer and just remind you that once again, we are not getting paid to do this show. We're also not profiting from the music that you're listening to. The music does remain the property of the many artists, the record producers, and the record companies. So make sure you go to Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, or wherever you normally purchase your music from, and let's make sure we purchase these tracks that show some love to the many artists, the record producers, and the record companies. Again, this show is for entertainment purposes only, no copyright infringement intended. Now, as we get back into the music, of course, Donny Osmond became famous mainly in the 1960s 1970s. He even had a TV show with his sister Marie Osmond, and the Osmond craze was all over the place. In 1989, he decided to make a comeback and released a new album. And here's the first song released from Donny Osmond's comeback album. It actually reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States. It's Donny Osmond and Soldier of Love on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
The heart made of stone. I gotta rest the spirit that nobody can know. Every picture tells a story. Won't you listen to mine? I'm searching for the answer, but it's so hard to find. You'll see much deeper when you read between the lines.
Off the Footloose soundtrack from 1984, that's Bonnie Tyler and Holding Out for a Hero on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. And before that, we heard Soldier of Love by Donny Osmond from 1989. I'm Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida. And this weekend, we're playing some of our 80s honorable mentions in no particular order. We're calling it our 80s honorable mentions Part 3 on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. Now, moving right along, in the mid-80s, the boss Bruce Springsteen was really on fire. And of course, later on, he released a song called I'm on Fire. But in 1984, this was one of his biggest hits. And if you watch this video, you'll see a young Courtney Cox jump on stage with Bruce Springsteen and dance with him during the making of this video. From 1984, it's Bruce Springsteen, the boss, and Dancing in the Dark on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Messages keep getting clearer. Radio's on and I'm moving around the place. I check my look in the mirror. Wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face, and I ain't getting nowhere. I'm just living in a dump like this. There's something happening somewhere. Baby, I just know that this. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. You sit around getting older. There's a joke, here's some wine, it's on me. I shake this world off my shoulders. Come on, baby, the laughs on me. Stay on the streets of this town, and they'll be carving you up alright. You say you gotta stay hungry. Hey, baby, I'm just about starting tonight. I'm dying for some action. I'm sick of sitting around here trying to write this book. I need a love reaction. Come on now, baby, give me just one look. We can't start a fire, sitting around crying over a broken heart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark.
From 1981, that's Tony Basil and Mickey. Before that, we heard Bruce Springsteen, The Boss, and Dancing in the Dark from 1984 on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. And you are listening to the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown, and this weekend we're not doing a traditional countdown show. We're just playing our 80s Honorable Mentions in no particular order. We're calling the show our 80s Honorable Mentions Part 3. And now we're up to our final song in this week's show, and a lot of people in the 80s thought that this song was named after the electronics department in Montgomery Ward because the department was called Electric Avenue. It is true Montgomery Ward did feature the song in their TV and radio commercials when they would talk about their electronics department, but in reality this song was actually named after a street in London. Electric Avenue was built in the 1800s in the Brixton area of London, and it got its name because it was the first street in the world to ever have electric street lights. In 1983, Eddie Grant released a song about that very street, and it later peaked at number 2 on both the US and British Billboard charts. So here's Eddie Grant from 1983 with Electric Avenue on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown.
Now in the street there is violence, and then a lot of work to be done. No place to hang out or washing, and then I can't blame all on the sun. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Working so hard like a soldier, can't afford a thing on TV. Deep in my heart I abhor ya. Can't get food for the kid. Good God, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no! Oh no! Oh Lord, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Who is to blame in what country? Never can get to the one. Dealing in multiplication, and they still can't feed everyone. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Out in the street, out in the street, out in the playground, in the dark side of town. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Hey, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue. Oh yeah, rock it in the daytime, Electric Avenue. Rock it in the night, take it higher, Electric Avenue. Rock it in Miami, Electric Avenue. Oh, in a big sky higher.
From 1983, that's Eddie Grant there and Electric Avenue on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. Well, there you have them, some of our 80s honorable mentions on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. My name is Stacey Noles, Entertainment Director and Mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida. And if you have a question or a comment or a show idea, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is Stacey, S-T-A-C-E-Y, at sndjpensacola.com. Again, that's SNDJPENSACOLA.com, and I'll be glad to respond to your questions or comments or whatever you have to say, and please feel free to reach out. Once again, I want to remind you that we are not getting paid to do this show. We're also not profiting from the music that you just listened to, so make sure that you go to Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, or wherever you normally purchase your music from, and let's make sure we purchase these tracks and show some love to the many artists, the many record producers, and the record companies who make this music possible. Again, this show is for entertainment purposes only, no copyright infringement intended, and the music does remain the property of the artists, the record producers, and the record companies. And once again, my name is Stacey Noles. Thank you so much for listening to this week's show. I look forward to seeing you next week on the SNDJ Top 10 Countdown. Until then, take care and God bless. The SNDJ Top 10 Countdown is a presentation of SNDJ Entertainment.